Coming into camp, you've got real wide shoulders and you're still growing. You're only 15 years old, okay? Right, I'm right on that, not 14, right? Okay. So you got a long way to go. You got wide shoulders and they're going to get broader. You're going to get more muscle on them and that type of thing. I think you were a little narrow coming in. In the game of football, we need our feet up and under us for balance, leverage, mobility, power, all those things that are important. But generally, we want our feet a little wider than our shoulders in a basic stance. In a snapping stance, we probably need 4 to 6 to 8 inches more, so we just have plenty of room between the legs to make a throw without running into something. Does that make sense? Okay. You're a little narrow, which means that when we look at you from the front, the knees aren't wider, substantially wider than the shoulders. So we need to bring those feet out a little bit, and in the process probably rotate the heels inward so that when we sit into it, we can have the load bearing on the quads, push the knees out over the toes, make sure we got plenty of room between the legs. Go ahead and set up. Let's see what it looks like facing the camera real quickly. Go ahead and sit down into a comfortable position. Now there's no pressure on the hip flexors, right? Okay, go ahead and set up and hold the ball. Let's just document it, see what it looks like. Does that feel comfortable? Good, that looks solid. Go ahead and stand up, step back where you were. The other things we had coming into camp, you kind of hunched up. You were hunched up like this. We call it a turtle, simply because there's a little bit of roundness in the back. And remember, we want that spine aligned so we can have good weight distribution around that center of gravity in front of it and back of it. All right? You also overextended downfield. The ball's too far out in front of you, but you were hunkering down so low that you actually didn't have enough arm extension to make a good solid throw. A lot of bend in the elbow. Now, you're a lefty like me, right? So I'm doing this backwards, but you get the point, right? You also were too deep on the back end. Your knees were bent way beyond 90 degrees. Not as fundamentally. If you go beyond 90, you can't really rebound and explode with the legs as powerfully as you might otherwise. Does that make sense to you? Okay. Because you were hunkered down so much, you were too deep, like I said, overextended downfield, which tends to pull your weight forward. Your knees were ahead of your toes and your heels were off the ground, which means we've got a weight forward bias. Okay. If you're off balance, you're going to be a lot less accurate than if you're in a stable, balanced, neutral two-point stance. So we got to get you balanced. Because of that setup and the falling forward bias, as you drove with the legs, the leg drive was pretty much straight vertical, which means it's not productive in the snap. To get it productive in the snap, we need it back into the hips a little bit so that lower body motion energy can converge with the upper body motion energy in an arrow point, and all of those energies can be combined and sent straight downfield towards our target. Make sense? Okay. So essentially what we need to do is take you from this position. We need to straighten out your back a little bit, take your whole head to tail platform and elevate it by unbending the legs. Give you some more operating room underneath, okay? And then shove the weight back into the hips so the knees are over the toes and we're in a solid, balanced, neutral two-point stance. The other way to do that, and don't be lazy with it, is to set up right with the approach. Get your feet set, sit down like this, keeping the back straight, get your knees where you want to be and be solid, and then just reach out and grab the football, okay? Go ahead and step in here. I'm going to three-step you the first time. And Jimmy, if you can just feed the balls back to me, okay? You ready? Okay, first thing I do is pull you forward. Gets knee bend to 90 or less, straightens the back, extends the arms, raise you up, maximizing operating room under your torso. Then I'm going to push you back into the hips till the heels touch the ground, knees are over the toes, you're solid on your feet. You feel solid there? If you're never sure about balance, lift that ball off the ground, get your balance right, and then set it right back down. Give it a good hard throw. How's that feel? Different? Good, bad, or just different? Okay. Let's try that one more time a little faster. A perfect setup will lead to a perfect snap because everything's going to travel where it should. Into the arrow point and towards your target, okay? 1, 2, 3. Go ahead and give it a good hard throw. Okay, very directional. Does it feel bad though? Are you comfortable with working on that? Okay, let's do one more snap. Get you there without me manipulating you through the three-step thing. We did also say earlier on that maybe your wrist was a little too cocked. By raising you up, we can unwind that a bit and get you in a more of a powerful fundamental throw kind of position. So you can actually get more linear acceleration of the football to your target. Okay, go ahead. So coming in, you had the ball too far in front of you. You were hunkered way down and off balance, okay? We took this head-to-tail platform, raised it up a little bit, shove the weight back in the hips to get the knees over the toes and get you balanced, okay? And then we just got you to a point where your wrist wasn't so over-cocked that you couldn't give it a linear throw. Throw it hard. That's it. Pretty good. Okay, let's do one more and get you perfectly balanced. We're going to move on to Jimmy. Generally, you want that ball pretty much, your eyeballs would be about a third of the way up. Now, you have a shorter torso and longer limbs, so you're going to look a little different. We talked about you won't have a lot of gap width here like some guys do, okay, between shoulders and knees. But as long as you feel well balanced, that's all I care about. Don't be flat-footed, be on the balls of your feet. Looking pretty good. Does it feel okay? Yeah. Now, you fell off balance probably because at the finish you kind of just raised up or something. We hadn't seen that out of you, so I'm not going to make a big deal of it. But you want to be so balanced and stable that you can actually hold that finish, because from this position you can break down to cover the field or block or whatever you're going to have to do. You have any questions? Okay. I would like to see us getting more out of the lower body, a little more out of the gut crunch, but like I said, as you get more fundamentally sound in the setup and get more confident, you're just naturally going to start throwing harder. And given your age and stage, that's going to develop somewhat organically or naturally as you go along and get more reps. Okay, good job. Let's rotate you. All right, here we go, Don. Okay, so we got you better balanced, got the knees over toes, raise your platform a little bit, improve the arm extension. Nice solid base, throw it hard with two hands. Excellent, excellent, Don. Let's move to the side. Okay, got to have room between the knees to get that body through, okay, and that throw through. See the difference? All right, good job. Go.